I welcome you all to this webinar. I hope I am audible to you. Can you please write it in the chat box? All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for your responses. So as I was saying, thank you, Manoj. Thanks. Thanks, guys, for the responses. All right. So as I was saying, welcome to this webinar. So the idea behind launching the series of such webinars is that many a times in our corporate journeys, or if we want to enter into this corporate environment, so we have to be well versed with certain terms, terminologies, concepts, uh, which I would say we are actually quite busy in our day-to-day activities, day-to-day life cycles, that we don't get so much of time to understand or to search on these concepts. So let's just dive into a very brief brief introduction about what actually do we mean by a football field analysis or football field chart. So the topics of the presentation that we will be covering here is what is a football field chart, why do we use a football field chart, or where is it used, and how do we create a football field chart. So what I have observed is that quite a lot of people in the industry are creating a football field chart, yes. So we'll see how do we create that. But the next step that I will be teaching you is something to do with dynamic charting. I won't dive into the concept of dynamic charting, but I will tell you how do you actually add a dynamic share price line to your football field chart, so that as and when the share price change, the current price it can be, or the target price of the analyst it can be, as and when it changes, it automatically gets reflected on your chart. So you don't have to bother about that. All right. So let's dive into it. And very quickly, let's see what is a football field chart. That's a very, very fancy term, as you can see. So football field chart is basically for summarizing the valuation ranges. So what do I mean by summarizing valuation ranges is that we have various methods to compute the valuation, right? Valuation guys might be aware of certain methods, certain different methods that we use to arrive at the valuation of a company. If you're a student and attending such webinar, so I would like to inform you that there are various methods that we use to arrive at the valuation of a company. All right. So this football field chart is used to summarize, as I said, but summarize graphically. So it summarizes on a graph, graphically, the ranges of valuation of a business computed through different valuation methods, right? So this is a football field chart. So as you can see, the value through different valuation methods are summarized on a chart. And why the term football field? So as you can see, it's kind of between the two poles, right? So that's how we present it. And yes, the sports terms are used a lot in investment banking industry. So take a note of that. All right, jokes apart. But yes, so these are the different and the most important valuation methodologies, some of the widely used valuation methodologies. Comparable company analysis, wherein we find the value of a company based on competitor companies, right? So we basically see what are the competitor companies to our company that we are valuing, and then we find out various multiples, right? So what and how do we calculate those multiples? Let's talk about in a separate webinar that I'll be covering. But for this webinar, let's just focus on that there are certain valuation techniques. So first is comparable company analysis. Second is certain precedent transactions technique. The third one and the most famous one is the DCF analysis. We all know what a discounted cash flow is. So DCF computes a valuation for a company. And then there might be certain recent high and low share prices if it's a public company that we are analyzing. All right. So all these techniques clubbed together compute various different valuation ranges. And when we present those valuation ranges in a chart, that becomes our football field chart. All right. Hope that is clear. In case you have any questions, guys, do pop it up in the chat box. I'll be most happy to address the questions after the session, but all right. All right. So why do you use a football field chart? First, it visually depicts, of course, in a single chart, we can see all the different valuation of a business as arrived by different valuation methods. So it helps us better summarize everything, and that too in a visual effect. And also to know where an average target valuation lies as compared to different alternatives. By this, I mean that we'll see in our practical example when we will make a football field chart. But basically this line means that if we are to analyze the current share price of a company, or there is a target valuation of a company and we are analyzing that target valuation and benchmarking it with different valuation techniques. So in a chart, in this football field chart, we will be able to see visually that where does the target valuation lies as compared to different alternatives. Is it undervalued? Is it overvalued? Right? So we make such analysis based on this football field chart. And yes, generally it is used in investment banking pitch books or equity research reports, as I was saying, and it is used to summarize the various valuation methods used. Fair enough. Now, that's all about the theory part, guys. Let's not dive too much into the theory, and let's practically do a hands-on on how to build a football field chart. All right, so let's use the data as provided in the next slide. So let's use this sample data and let's see how can we prepare a football field chart. So please pardon the maximum value and minimum value columns. It should be interchanged. All right. So do it accordingly. All right. Let's take this sample data and let's put it on Excel. If you need, I'll give you a minute to paste this table. Just write down the values and the method used on our Excel, and then let's do a hands-on on how to prepare the football field chart. Giving you a minute, guys. Please paste these values on Excel, and then let's continue. Guys, let's make it an interactive session. Please do keep writing on the chat box, and please let me know when you are absolutely ready with the Excel. All right, and let's move together. Those who have just joined, firstly, welcome to the webinar. So you have missed a certain theory portion where I was explaining what exactly is a football field chart and why do we use it. But you are just in time to start the practical aspects of this. All right, so this is the sample data in your screen on your screens right now. Please put these values on an Excel along with the valuation methods used, and let's prepare a football field chart. Give me a minute in the chat box to write to tell me when you are ready with the Excel, so that let's move forward. All right, guys. So switching to Excel, the first step is to insert a new column between the minimum and the maximum values. So the first is a shortcut to insert a new column. So we have different shortcuts to do the same thing in Excel. So the shortcut that's widely used is press Alt IC to insert a new column between the minimum and the maximum columns. All right. Please insert a new column between the values. Second step, compute the difference of maximum and minimum values in that new column that you have inserted. So if I talk in Excel terms, we can write difference and I can just copy it downwards. All right. I hope we are all together. So please insert a new column between minimum and maximum values. Second step, please compute the difference between the maximum and the minimum values. The third step, do it with me guys. The third step, press Ctrl A to select the data in the table. So the shortcut that we use to select a specific amount of data in a table is Ctrl A. All right, so press Ctrl A to select the table and go to insert. I'm not telling you too much of shortcuts also, but the very relevant ones. All right, so go to insert, click on this small button here so that it gives you charts that are available. Go to this bar chart here. Go to the bar chart here and select the second one, something like this. Guys, time to use the chat box again. As I had said, let's make it a very, very interactive session. So just let me know when you have this chart on your screens. Please let me know when you have this chart on your screens so that we are doing it together and are extracting maximum benefit of this webinar. First, please select stacked bar. All right. You want me to show it again? Guys, do you want me to show it again? Okay. Okay. I will show it again. No problem. No problem. I'll show it again. So let me delete this. So as I said, insert a new column between maximum and minimum. Find out the difference between the maximum and the minimum values. Press Ctrl A to select the table. Go to insert. Go to insert. Click this small arrow here to select the charts, or you can select it from here also, bar chart. So when you click on this arrow, click on all charts here. Go to the bar chart. The second option, stacked bar. All right, click on stacked bar and you'll get something like this. Is it clear now with me? All right, perfect. So let's continue. The next step here, click on the minimum values. Click on any of the bar which represents the minimum values. And as soon as you click on any of these bars, you will notice that all the minimum value bars will get highlighted, will get selected. All right, right click on those bars and there is a fill option as you can see here. All right, please click on no fill. I don't need any color on this minimum values. Right click on those bars. In the fill, click on no fill. Please do the same with the maximum ones. Right click and click on no fill. So we have this kind of a chart with us. You know, when you all are with me guys, on the minimum and click on no fill. I don't need any color on those bars. Done. See why I am telling you to respond again and again guys, because it doesn't make sense if I keep going on and doing it from my end. because I will any which ways do it in a very less span of time. So why I want you guys to do it along with me, so that you can extract maximum benefit that you are spending 1 hour with me. So we have to utilize that 1 hour, right? All right, perfect. Now let's add some data labels. Click on those maximum ones again. Oh, sorry, click on the minimum ones or maximum ones. You can do any ones. Right click and let's add data labels. Right click and add data labels. Add data labels. Then all of you have the data labels. All right, perfect. So all of you have the data labels now. Let's organize those data labels. It's not a very good looking chart. Yes, you cannot make any sense out of it. Perfect. So let's do one thing. Click on the data labels, right click and click on format data labels. Click on the data labels, right click on the data labels and click on format data labels. All right. And if you have selected the minimum ones, the minimum data labels, click on inside end. Click on inside end label position. Click on inside end. All right. If you have selected the minimum ones, click on inside end. Please do the same thing with maximum data labels. Format data labels and click on inside base. This time click on inside base. So how do we organize it? If we have selected the minimum data labels, click on inside end. If we have selected the maximum data labels, click on inside base. All right, with me? With me till this point? All right, perfect. So I can modify it now. That's how we prepare a football field chart, guys. Let's just analyze it in a while. But first, let's just remove these grid lines. I don't need these grid lines. So click on the grid lines and press delete. That makes it much better to look. All right. So chart title, you can give the chart title, for example, ABC Company valuation ranges. All right. That's very easy. How do we modify a chart? Now that is our football field chart. Now you don't need it till 1000, right? You can right click and format axis. I hope you all know how to do that. All right. And under maximum, let's just select, let's say 700. We are good to do with 700 only. All right. Now that's how we create a football field chart. This is the football field chart. So on a chart, you can see what does DCF analysis says with a band of values. So 350 to 430, let's say it's in dollars or INR per share. So 350 to 430. Precedent transactions give us a range of 229 to 271. Comparable analysis gives us, let's say from 270 to 355 and so on. So we can have many other methods on this chart as well. Now, let's say we have the current share price of, let's say, 400 or let's say 550. So let's say we have a current share price of 550. Okay. Now, there are two ways to do what I'm about to tell you. How do you create a line? The first is go to insert, click on shapes and add this single line and go to 550 and just drag it downwards, and you can change the color, make it dotted, and so on. All right. So you can do whatever you feel like with this and how do you want to show it. So that's one way to do it, to represent the current price. But the problem with this thing is that as and when the price change, I will have to change the line again and again. Correct? To overcome that, let's see how do we do that. Okay, so we have a current share price of 550. Let's add a new segment, new line here with the current share price and link it to 550 here and link it to the previous one here. So we have two 550s. I'm about to tell you how to create a dynamic share price line, guys. So we have two 550s and let's write down 1000 here and 0 here. All right. So I am just making a range. I'll tell you, I will see why. All right. So current share price 550, I have linked it to this cell 550. This 550, I have linked it to the previous one. Manually, I have written 1000 here and 0 here. All right. With me till this point, guys? Use the chat box, guys. Are you with me till this stage? What I have done is I have linked 550 being my share price and I have linked this cell to the 550. Sure, Ruchir, I am repeating. So now when we are done with this football field chart, now what I need is I need a dynamic share price line so that as and when I change this price, that line should change accordingly. All right. So 550 is, let's assume this is my current share price. So what I have done is I have inserted a new line and here in minimum and difference. So it doesn't matter where you write it. So I am just making a range. All right, so 550, please link it to this cell. This 550, I have linked it to the previous one. Even if you don't link it to the previous one, that's fine. 1000 I have written manually and then 0. So I'm just trying to make a range. All right. The next step is select the chart. Click on select data. Click on select data. In this, please click on add. In legend entries, please click on add. All right. In legend entries, please click on add. In the series name, all right, in the series name, click on current share price. I want this name to be of the current share price. All right. Click on current share price. In series values, select these two. In the values, select these two, the 550, the share price. Please repeat last step. All right. So Harsh, what I have done is I clicked on the chart, the football field chart that we prepared. Right click on that chart, click on select data. Then in the under legend entries, click on add. You will get this edit series, something like this. All right. Under series name, click on current share price. So I want the name to be current share price. So in series values, all right, in series values, just select these two, drag it and select these two, the share price. Click on OK. Click on OK. you will notice something like this on your charts. All right, don't be afraid. We'll just sort this thing out. With me till this step. Right, I know it's getting a bit technical here. That's why I'm moving a bit slow. Are we together? Everyone? Guys, please use the chat box. That's how I will know. Harsh, there is an error. There should not be an error, Harsh. Please check what you have done. Right click on the chart. Click on select data. Right, click on add under legend entries. Under series name, click on current share price. And values, please select, drag and select the share price 550. All right. Now, as soon as you click on this, the new bar that we have inserted for the current share price, see the formula bar. See the formula bar. We'll be tweaking something in this formula. Guys, this will get technical. I'll be tweaking something in this formula. All right. So if you see the formula, after the first logical syntax that we have entered, you will see two commas. So ideally we haven't mentioned anything with the axis, right? With the second axis. So please remove one comma. Please remove one comma and come towards the end where 4 is written. There will be two commas. Please remove one comma and come to the point just before 4 and in the end. Before 4, just select 1000 and 0 that you have mentioned. Before 4, just select 1000 and 0 that you had mentioned. All right. Press comma and instead of 4, delete 4 and write down 1. Instead of 4, write down 1 and press enter. Don't worry with what you are seeing on the graph. Let me know if we are together till this stage. All right, Harsh, it's done and seems magical. Okay, that's right. That's the beauty of working with Excel, right? Okay, how about others? Are we together? All right. So now let's see how we change this chart again, because that's not what we intended. All right. Right click on this 550, guys. Right click on the new bar that you are seeing on the screens. Click on change series chart type. Click on change series chart type. Under current share price, you will notice that it's a stacked bar chart. Change it to this scatter with smooth lines and markers. Change it to scatter with smooth lines and markers. Click on OK. Are we together with what you are seeing on my screen? All right, perfect, Harsh. Great. So now what we have done is we have created a dynamic line for this current share price. Now we are left with some few steps that we have to follow again. Click on this axis Click on the axis where you see 550 twice, or let's make it simple. Let's make it simple. Right click and go to select data again. Right click and go to select data again. Let's make it simple. Go to the minimum. Go to minimum. Towards the right hand side where you see horizontal axis labels. Go to edit and just select the valuation methods. Go to edit and just select the valuation methods. All right, and click on OK. Click on OK. Now we'll see that our methods come back again, and we know that this is the range for DCF analysis, president, comparable, 52-week range. All right, so we are back. We are back with these methods. Do the same thing again. Right click on the minimum bars and just click on no fill. Right click on the maximum ones. Click on no fill. Add back data labels. We know how to do it. Add back data labels. Next, modify the data labels. We have covered all these steps. Modify the data labels. The last step here, the very last step here, click on the second axis that you can see at 1200. Click on that axis, right click and click on format axis. All right, click on format axis. You will be able to see this maximum value of 1200. Let's change it to 1000 so that we get this horizontal, the vertical line from the beginning. All right. We're all getting this? Now here comes the analysis. Perfect. Here comes the analysis. Let's just remove these legends. I don't need them anymore. I can also hide these axes. I can just do a white font. I don't need these axes. All right. So now you will notice that whatever share price you change here, let's say I want to make it 400, the line will change automatically. If I make it 200, it will change automatically. So now if I am to analyze something with this chart, I am doing, let's take an example that we are doing the valuation for a public company or a public limited company, right? And we want to see whether the trading price is undervalued or overvalued. So if you can tell me, what does this 200 suggest? If you can see from the graph, what does this 200 of a target price as of now suggest you? I'm looking for the answers, guys. If you see from the graph, what does this price of 200 suggest? Is the company undervalued or the company is overvalued? Bang on correct, guys. Very good. This suggests that the company is undervalued, right? And if I just make it 500, it suggests that the company is overvalued. And if you are doing, let's say, a mergers and acquisition deal, if you are sitting at a table with companies and negotiating the price, let's say the price is more likely somewhere between the valuation ranges, let's say 352 or something, so that it falls within the ranges, right? So that's how we analyze it through a football field chart, widely used I hope you are. I hope you have done this dynamic charting and you are seeing some magic happening in your Excel screens. Correct? I hope all of you, all of us are at the same page. Great, guys. Great. So what we have done is I have also in the presentation, I'll be very happy to share the presentation also with you guys. All right. And I have mentioned all the steps that you need to follow to create a good football field chart, for modifying the data as well, and how do we display the chart. But it's not possible for me to mention the steps for dynamic share price line theoretically, because that's something that we'll do practical, that we have done practically. uh, I will incorporate that to as much extent I can, and so that it's better. Even if you are studying with the presentation, it's better, and you can make sense out of the presentation. All right. So hope you are absolutely clear with how do we create a football field analysis. I have a question. Can we quickly recap making the line dynamic at the end? Danish, yes. Hi, Danish. So what I have done is, after we create a football field chart, I entered a share price. All right. I'll take you through the screens. So after this chart, I entered a share price line. All right. And I entered two values here, linking it to the share price. Okay, just so that I am making a range basically. So I enter 1000 here and 0 here. All right. The next step, I right click on the chart, click on select data. Under the legend entries, I click on add and select the current share price under series name, and under values, I select these two 500 ones. I drag and select these two 500 ones. When I have them on the as a bar on my chart, I go to the formulas. In the formula bar, you will see two commas. I reduce one comma. I come back just before four that you were seeing on my screen, and I selected these two. I dragged and selected these two. I entered a comma and I wrote 1 instead of 4. All right, that's how we manually change the formula. That's a tricky part. All right, so that's some technical thing that we did. Oh, after that, I right clicked on the newly framed bar and changed the series chart type to the scatter diagram with smooth lines. Or as soon as I clicked on scatter diagram, I got my dynamic line here. All right, so that's how you create a dynamic line. I hope this is very, very clear, guys. Right, I hope that was beneficial, guys. Is this football field analysis only used in M&A? It is more to do with corporate finance, Harsh, right? So because we see a different valuation ranges together, right? And we can use it in stock market reports as well to see if to comment if the company is undervalued and overvalued. All right, guys, that was a very quick webinar on how do you create a football field chart, along with something technical. I told you how to create a dynamic share price line. All right, that's difficult to get on Google as well, but yes, it's available though. All right, so I hope you can extract maximum benefits. Danish, in the presentation, I'll write the steps for dynamic line for sure. I'll incorporate it, and please connect me on DM, right? Connect me on DM on LinkedIn. I'll send you guys the presentation. Thanks for the compliment, Vijay. Thanks, Harsh. I hope you get the maximum benefit out of it. If you like it, please, we request your encouragement over LinkedIn, because that's just the very first webinar, and there are a lot of corporate finance webinars that we have planned, short webinars only, half hour, 1 hour webinars, so that you get maximum benefit out of it. All right, guys, thank you so much. I wish you all the very, very best for their corporate journeys. In case you get stuck anywhere, you need my help, I am absolutely available on LinkedIn. Please reach me out and I'll be very, very happy to help you. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Wish you all the very best. And yes, I'll be sharing the presentation. Danish, next webinar, follow me on LinkedIn and the page, Danish. I'll be writing down the next webinar. It'll happen soon. Don't worry. Thank you so much for the encouragement, guys. Thank you. Wish you all the very best.